Oops. Oh, all right. A new vlog. And I've got to look over here. Sorry. All right. Break free. That's what I'm about. Breaking free and living. All right. So you're going to break free. What does that mean? Well, there's one aspect we can talk about today. And that aspect is breaking free of conformity. Do you know Earl Nightingale said in a show he was doing that conformity is one of the diseases of our society, basically. It is what keeps everybody just doing, we're like a bunch of robots. He said, and I agree totally, if you ask someone why they go to work, they say, I don't know, because I'm supposed to. Conformity. Where does conformity come from? Well, to understand a little bit about conformity, we start being conformed from the time we are very, 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 very small. And even in the spiritual world, and I'll get a little woo-woo for some of you who are not, even they talk about it. If you talk about the first chakra, our first energy field in our body or around our body, it is, and if you do a special mission to learn about yourself, it's about the we, the I becoming the we. It's about our relationship to the world, but it's also how we entered into the world as the I. We came into our bodies as the I. And then as soon as we start reacting with parents, relatives, TV, what we hear in our household, what we hear with friends, but I'm talking very young, that starts to form our we. And thus, the world of conformity begins. Because we hear, no, don't do that. No, no, no. And oh, aren't you just so cute? Oh, mama just loves that. Learning the lines of what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. And yes, we do have to have some civility, I agree, or learn how to relate with others on a civil level. But then it gets even more and more. And when we get into school, I'm just amazed from what I've seen as my kids grow up in school. Everything is praised when you are in conformity. When you play what they call within the rules. Sorry, there's a plane going overhead. Yeah, very loud. Pooh. Anyway, so if you play by the rules, if you say the things that they want to hear, conformity. But if you think outside the box, if you think outside the box, then you don't get the awards. You don't get so much of the teacher's help, and you actually end up in trouble all the time. That is learning conformity. And my two sons go to a private school, and they love it there. I don't understand why. But they all wear uniforms. That's conformity. All looking the same. And if you think that's so nice and easy, and it is nice and easy, you don't have to go to the store. But the ideology goes through every thread of every class, of every extracurricular activity. It's always conformity. And then, all of a sudden, we're supposed to jump out of that box of conformity to become entrepreneurs, to live our dream, to be who we want to be. And we say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I can't do that. I've got to be like this person. I've got to be like my relatives. I can't exceed what my parents did. I can't be, sorry, I thought I had something on me. I can't make more money than my mom and dad. I can't move from here. Where I live is in the Midwest. I have never seen so many people stay in the same place. Now there's a lot of a lot of kids will graduate and fly. I did. A lot of my friends did. If I go back to my hometown on the east, I would know no one. They've all flown the coop. Here, they stay. They graduate and come back. Now, part of that is because, the standard of living here is very good. But there's other things that, you get what you pay for, whatever you want. If that's what you want, great. But if you're looking for something else more exciting or a freer way of thinking, this is probably not the place to be. It's conformity. So how do we break out of that box? How do we break free? Well, I've always said if you live like a radical, then you have got the right idea. What does a radical do? A radical thinks outside the box. A radical doesn't care what other people say. A radical doesn't feel like they owe it to anybody to stay the way somebody else wants them. A radical is always thinking, where the conformity does not always think. When you go to break out of that conformity, there are so many others who are so scared of breaking out of that conformity that they will say, "What are you doing? You can't do that. Do you have any expertise in that? Do you really think you know what you're doing? Come on." And you, to be able to be successful in getting out of that box and breaking free, it's really about believing in what you're doing. And now I know, it's a hunch, it's an idea, but grow the idea. Feed the idea. Start visualizing what it would be like if I had whatever it is I want. If I want to be that international bestseller, how does it feel? How will I feel as a person? How will I grow? And you feed it until it becomes you. I remember, sorry, I keep getting all these little messages. I remember when I wanted to learn more. I was learning so much. I had started learning way back when I was 15. I had started this awareness I wanted to understand why I was different in so many ways. So I started at 15 to learn why I was so happy and others were not. That was my mission. But then I had lost my way, and I got back into it when everything fell apart and I was living in the twilight zone, and I didn't know what was going on. And when I was in that twilight zone, and then I started to find my way out, I became so hungry for this stuff. And I wanted to learn more, but I remember talking to my friend, and I said, if I keep going, I'm going to lose all my groups that I associate with. And as far as dating, that's going to be right out the window, because nobody's on this. I know it from when I was 15. Nobody's on this road. And she said, yeah, but you got to be your true self. You've got to go for you. And the world will shape around what you are and who you are and what you're doing. There'll be a new set of conformity. Breaking free is moving from one conformity into another. It's kind of thinking that way. I'm getting into the self-help world. That's kind of a conformity of its own way. And then getting into another one, breaking free of that into another one. We're constantly breaking free. And the feeling is fabulous. Sure, it's scary, but when you're free, my gosh, you can totally just, yes, I'm free. I'm free to think the way I want to think. I am free to be who I want to be. I can go after my idea and I can achieve it without the limitations, without the obligations, without the should-haves. That is a type a very serious type of freedom. And that's one of the things we definitely have to break free of: conformity. I hope you found this helpful today. Do me a favor. Write down your dream at the top of the page. And then I want you to write down why you think it's so hard to achieve. And then put it in the center of the table. It's out of your head. But every time you come back to that table, look at one objection. I'll put one objection, and then put just one solution you can think of. And then walk away, do some other things, come back, and put another solution. And when you're done after maybe 3 days, take a look at how many solutions you came up with and how possible this dream you have is. Because there's so many solutions that you can achieve it. Now you have no reason not to break out of your box of conformity. Have an awesome, awesome weekend. And this is your Friday Inspiration. And I'm Elena Chapman. Make it an awesome day. Bye-bye.